Galimera, Galimera, Galimera. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And what a lovely day it is today. A little bit windy. I don't know if you can hear that. We've got the chickens down here feeding at the moment. I just put a bit out for two that we particularly like. And of course, as soon as you put a little bit out, everybody else, every man and his dog turns up. Well, big thank you to a lovely Amanda again for a concise weather forecast. She says, good morning, Ginge. Today it's going to be sunny with cloud. However, we are still on alert state yellow for high winds. And again, today's temperature is slightly cooler than yesterday. 21 degrees Celsius, she says, but it's going to feel like 23. And I've got to be honest, it doesn't look too much of a miss at the moment. I'm quite surprised that they finished doing the olives quite quickly. The olives are near enough all done. So they were working till quite late yesterday afternoon, the guys doing the olives. And they've more or less finished doing it. And as I said yesterday, not as many olives as last year, because obviously we lost quite a bit of the harvest due to the heavy rains we had in October. And so olive oil is going to be at a premium at the moment. But anyway, that's the view from where we are at the moment. Let's have a quick look over the hills, shall we? See what the weather's like over the hills. See if it's cloudy or whatever over there as we go around the side of the house. The vineyard looking a little bit forlorn as it all gets ready for the winter. But anyway, that's the look across, looking towards Kerry, and in that location again it's looking a bit cloudy. Anyway, let's crack on with the news, because as you're probably not aware, there's been a lot going on in the last 24 hours. Big shout out to Andy Orchard, nice to see you looking in, fella, as well. Got a few online at the moment, but anyway, I know it's early in the UK where you are, so let's just switch the old screen round. And Tim Miles, nice to see you looking in, Raffridge buddy. Steve Simpson, another Raffridge buddy. Aaron Vardy, another Raffridge buddy, tuning in. Obviously getting ready for Remembrance Weekend that is coming up as well. Right then, let's have a quick look what's been going on. Right, COVID in the last 24 hours. Greece has had its highest ever infection rate since the pandemic started. Yesterday then, 8,613 new cases were reported. That was up on the day before, where we had 7,335. All in all now, that means the infections since the pandemic started now have risen to 801,208, of which 50% of those are male. Anyway, there were 19 new infections identified at entries into the country. That was also up on the day before, where it was 17. Now, according to the national stats of the islands that we look at in the Ionian, curiosity, and see how they're doing in comparison to us here on Zakynthos. Macardo at the moment, they had an increase as well. They went from 12 on the previous report to 18 yesterday. They're an island that is classed as green within the Greek traffic light system. Corfu, they actually had a slight decline in new infections. They were 90 on the previous report. Their latest infection rate is 87, and they're an island that is in the red at the moment. Kefalonia, they've had an increase as well. They were 13 on my previous report. Today, I can report they have had 18 new cases within the last 24 hours, and they are in amber. Now, as for Zakynthos, we've had a bit of a jump, actually. We were 10 cases yesterday. Anyway, it has now gone up to 21 new cases within the last 24 hours, and our island, Zakynthos, is still in the red. Also, as well, when it comes to deaths, interestingly, deaths were down on yesterday. It was 65 on my previous report. The latest, it was 46 new deaths across the country. That brings the death toll now to 16,414. Again, our condolences to those families affected. 95.3% of those people had underlying health conditions or were over the age of 70. When it comes to critical care cases at the moment, they are obviously creeping up still. 477, what I reported on the last report. Now it is 486 who are in critical care at the moment in ICUs across the country. Now, of that 486, 298 are male, 188 are female. The average age of those people in ICUs is 65 years of age, and 81.7% of those people have underlying health conditions or are over the age of 70. Now, regarding the critical patients, of that 486, 408 are unvaccinated or partially vaccinated, and 78 are fully vaccinated. So that's the stats at the moment here in Greece for COVID in the last 24 hours. Now, today's news then, just to let you know that there is a ferry strike on at the moment. That started at 6 o'clock this morning. That ferry strike is going to last for 48 hours. However, the option for it to be extended has not been fully ratified at the moment, so it could actually last a bit longer. So at the moment, if you're trying to get off the island here in Zakynthos and across the country, there is a 48-hour ferry strike on at the moment. So that means nobody's going anywhere and nothing is coming in. The Seamen's Union of Greece are basically striking because of conditions regards pensions, working conditions regards shifts. They feel that they are not incorrect, and again, their working practices are basically under threat. So at the moment, the ferries at the moment are on strike for 48 hours. If you're trying to get off the island, the only way off the island now is to fly. Also as well here on Zakynthos, it seems the demand for vaccines is increasing in the last few days, according to the available data and the continuous rise of cases. It's shown that the number of people here in Zakynthos have asked to be vaccinated is growing. And according to what the doctors and the head of the health centre has been saying here, Effie Damakas, she was speaking to Hermes News, and she says that she's had more than 80 vaccinations a day are being carried out here on the island. With our fellow citizens, what our fellow citizens should know is that the health centre conducts daily rapid tests on the population from 9 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon, while at the same time excursions take place in schools and villages. So they're going around the island doing rapid tests and vaccinations. The Greek Health last week sent a rapid test to Argasi and also to Kalamaki, while this week they are planning to be in Lathakia and Agalar as well here on Zakynthos. Anyway, cooperation with the region are conducting an information campaign, conducting rapid tests while they have a constant communication with the president in all the villages, said Mrs. Damakou, who asked that people of Zakynthos come and take a test regardless whether they are vaccinated or not, which is quite a good idea, actually. I don't have any objection to testing being done. In fact, testing is a good move because it just keeps you in the frame as to whether you may have it or maybe you don't. And don't forget, even if you're vaccinated, you can still have it, you can still spread it without even realising it. And if you're unvaccinated, like myself, well, you're hoping that your system is going to fight at the infection, and we'll see what happens. And again, as somebody who's been through it, had it, I'm, still not wanting the vaccine at the moment. I feel my immune system is strong enough to withstand a second attack. But anyway, even if you test every time, it's always quite handy to test. And if it's not costing you anything and they're doing it for free, even more reason to go and test. Anyway, great news then yesterday. They were publishing the results of the data yesterday over the 2021 tourist season. Christina Trotacci, she's the president of the Hoteliers Association for Zakynthos. She was speaking to Hermes News, and the story is data from the 2021 season, and the last flight took place on Saturday, November the 6th, with an EasyJet flight that went to Gatwick. That was the last flight out of here, finally bringing down the curtain, as they said, on the 2021 season. So now, interestingly, all eyes now are focused to the 2022 season, with information so far actually being very good, considering every problem that we had, considering the pandemic, restrictions placed upon us. and the fact that we didn't have certain markets not turning up until much later in the season. Anyway, Zakynthos closed the 2021 season with about 500,000 arrivals at the local airport here. In fact, it was quite good considering the problems that had existed throughout the season. Now, on Saturday, there was a total of 3 flights from EasyJet that closed the season. Also, there was a flight from Transavia that left at noon with approximately 150 tourists who were heading for Paris. We also had at 7 o'clock in the evening a Lufthansa flight left with 130 tourists, obviously heading for Munich in Germany. And at 10 p.m, the final flight, the EasyJet flight, actually left with 60 tourists going back to the UK. Now, the president of the Laguners Hoteliers Association, Christina Tredacci, said to the local media, "We are in a period of the coronavirus, and we must not forget this. The tourism industry internationally, not only in our country, is facing the worst crisis ever." And I couldn't more disagree with her there. I fully understand and fully appreciate it's been tough, very tough. Anyway, we all remember how pessimistic the messages were with the non-existent May and a June that did not exceed 35%. So that's all we had, 35% of the season of May and June. That's all we received. And normally by June, we're kicking and we're normally very, very busy. July was difficult because we in Zakynthos, she said, did not have the British market. And trust me, the British market was missed. In August, we saw the world move and we saw new markets for the first time in Zakynthos. And the largest market this year was the Polish market and not the British one. So that's official. There were more Poles coming to Greece, coming to Zakynthos than there were the British. Anyway, commenting on the data, Ms. Tredacci said this difficult period could become an opportunity for the next. The target of 50% seemed to have been achieved. So basically, there is still opportunity to be gained from obviously other markets that were coming when we lost the British market. Again, most businesses will turn around and say, we just love the British market. We love the amount of money that they spend within businesses, and they're an easy market they found to cater for. Anyway, the trends for 2022 show that there is a great demand for the Greek islands, and what we must take into account is that the preference shown on an increase in spending for reasons for the indicated protection against coronavirus and the choice of luxury villas. So basically what they were saying was that this year they saw an increase in people basically renting villas. The villa market actually did incredibly well this year, despite everything, because people just wanted to isolate themselves, have their own pool, and basically come and go as they pleased, and obviously stay away from other people, which I think basically boiled down to it, where they may have felt they could have been at risk. However, after this year, we saw luxury villas and the demand for villas was high. The picture we have is that it will continue, and that habits that we necessarily created by the pandemic are not going to disappear, at least for the next few years. And I'll tell you now, there seems to be a lot of building of villas going on at the moment around here on Zakynthos. Despite everything, there are still a lot of building going on here on the island, obviously getting ready for next year. Anyway, the Minister of Tourism, Vasily Kalakas, speaking at the Central Media meeting, speaking of his return from London, pointed out that for 2022, Greece will have tourists all year round, and has also said that the following, we have agreed with EasyJet to increase the availability with 500,000 new airline seats from 2022. This is instead of 1.1, but it will bring 1.6 million visitors and may reach 2 million. And this will be this was expressed to create technical bases in Heraklion and Corfu. So even though we're going to get an extra 500,000 flights, basically, or seats to Greece. That is fantastic. So alone, it looks like that EasyJet alone could be bringing 1.6 million tourists a year, as long as they don't forget us here in Zakynthos. But then again, looking at EasyJet's relationship with Zakynthos, it's been really, really good, actually, over these last few years. And we've all seen a lot more increased flights from EasyJet over the years, and I've got a feeling we might see more, especially for 2022, although the fine detail of this 500,000 extra seats has not yet been revealed, and I'm sure that is going to come through at some point in the winter. Also, she said, we also signed an agreement with Jet2, which includes the increase of 600,000 seats for 2022, 270 flights per week to 15 airports in Greece. The start of the period of April the 1st has been routed for new routes from Birmingham and Manchester to Athens, and then from April the 15th they're going to be supporting city breaks again to the capital and to Attica. So no mention of Zakynthos at the moment. Hopefully we're going to see again earlier flights coming here to Zakynthos, maybe in what we class as our pre-season before it all kicks off on the 1st of May. Maybe Jet2 will have pre-season holidays coming here. So again, fingers crossed. We'll wait and see how things transpire over the winter period. Also as well, she then said, as far as the October bookings for the summer of 2022, get this is October 2022, they have already seen a 30% rise above October 2018's bookings and for the summer of 2019. So it looks that they're looking right ahead to summer 2022, but they're also looking at the October of 2022, and that is looking better than in 2018. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it's all going to come to fruition and nothing else is going to go in our way. They also said as well that the Minister of Tourism stated that there will be 2 campaigns with OTI, that's the Greek Tourism Board this year, one for winter tourism and city breaks, and one for sea, sun and sand, John Clifford, not the other, all right, for summer tourism. So sea, sun and sand. Other people are thinking other things, basically. Right. So there you go. Looking really positive for 2022. Something to look forward to. Feel like you're wishing your life away in some respects, especially when you're looking as far ahead as October. But this is what you do in Greece. It's all boom and bust. You work hard in the summer, boom, boom, boom. You then come to winter. You survive on the money you've earned in the summer, hopefully hoping that then when the following summer comes round, everything will click back into normal and you'll crack on. So again, we've still got a difficult winter to get through. We're still not out of the woods yet. We've got to see how things are going to play out with the vaccination mantra at the moment, with the COVID mantra, and just the economic mantra as well of people whose businesses are trying to survive despite all the extra lockdowns. Not lockdowns here. He's adamant we're not going to have any more lockdowns, but restrictions placed upon people again. And John Clifford has just said the swines see sun and sand only. Yes, that's it. Thank you. I like that comment. That was quite funny, that. And finally, a little story that caught my eye. I don't know what you feel about the COP26. I think it was a complete and utter waste of time. The people that mattered didn't turn up, i.e. China. Everybody's running to save the planet, but China can go on and do what it likes. Greta Thunberg has just made a complete and utter fool of herself. However, a Greek has been in on the action. I love this story. A Greek ultramarathon runner who ran all the way from Athens to Glasgow to raise awareness for the environment during the climate summit at the Scottish city has set a strong example for future generations. Greece's ambassador to London said on Monday, I can't exactly imagine Joe Biden running all the way from the White House all the way to Glasgow. I certainly can't imagine Boris course, running from Glasgow down to London. You might remember the scandal of the end of the conference and all the double bullshit that was said. And Boris gets on a private plane so he can fly to a dinner for some Tory sleazebag who was basically being honoured for a bit more sleaze that probably hadn't been detected quite easily in the first place. But anyway, that's by the way. Anyway, after running 2,421 kilometres from Athens to Glasgow, the actor and activist Agis Emmanuel is ready to return back home. Congratulations for setting such a strong example for future generations. Wishing you the best of luck during your up-and-coming marathon in Athens. Yeah, we got the Athens Marathon coming up soon. Anyway, so this guy ran all the way from... He did have to take a train at one point, and he did have to take a ferry. That was pointed out in the article. He didn't swim the channel, being mistaken for a dinghy diver or anything else like that, but he got there. But again, at the end of the day, bloody hell, that's a long rate to run and quite and very impressive. You got to take your hat off to him. I hope they made a little story about his run. I remember watching Eddie Izzard and his marathons. Was it 40 marathons within a certain period of time that he did one year? And that is an incredible documentary to watch about his. And he even ran 2 marathons a day in some places just to catch up on his time scale. And it wasn't like he had to run them at his own pace. He was running them because he had to be in London for a certain date, obviously for the start of the London Marathon. And Linda Gary just said 14 cars, Biden's convoy. Again, the hypocrisy of it all. And what a waste of money. And again, I should think Madam Cranky wasn't allowed to attend, if I remember rightly. She was out of favour, so she didn't get to hobnob with all these influential people who might go to the Scottish cause of freedom. So again, I think she might have actually might have been in her favour of not to have attended as well. Anyway, that's the news for today here from Zakynthos. Once again, can I just say thank you for all the people that have been supporting my little podcast. Can I also say thank you to all those people as well who've been tuning into my broadcast on beatsradio.co.uk. You may have noticed now that the Northern Soul show is up online at the moment and has done extraordinarily well within a few hours of going into the Mixcloud global charts. I couldn't believe how well it's done. Also as well, my dance anthem show from the previous weekend, that has gone up online now. That's show number 41, and again, that's just entered the charts. It was a bit slow getting in the charts, that one, I've got to be quite honest, but I'm pleased it made it anyway. But my 2 new shows have been produced, ready for next weekend. And one of them, the Northern Soul show, is a Remembrance Day show, because that's going to be going out on Remembrance Sunday, which is next Sunday coming up. And my first show as well, the Dance Anthems, has a bit of a remembrance feel to it as well. So quite looking forward to an interesting weekend. I know there's a lot of guys, ex-forces guys. This is the big weekend of the year that's coming up. Don't forget, tomorrow, the 11th of the 11th, it will be the Remembrance Minute of Silence normally takes place. I will put some details as to how we'll handle that this year online at a later time. But anyway, thanks to everybody. I'm going to disappear away now. Jobs to do, things to sort out. Once again, thank you for your support. Please, on the YouTube channel, if you're watching me via YouTube, please like and subscribe. Even if you don't watch it, just like and subscribe. I'm just trying to get a few more people onto that platform. But thank you to those people on LinkedIn. Could I also say a big shout out to Greece's Bulletin Board, to the lovely ladies there that run that. Thank you again for your support as well in allowing me to share my podcast on your site as well. Anyway, that's it from me. I'll keep my ear to the ground. If I hear of anything, I'll let you know. Catch you later. Ta-ra.